What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another prediction video. That's right, it is finally time to predict the Birmingham Major. It starts in, actually, at the time of recording this and the time of uploading this, it starts tomorrow. And as always, if you want to watch party it with me, I will be watch partying it. Not every day, I won't be watching day one, as I do unfortunately have class and just some other stuff going on tomorrow, but outside of that, I will be watch partying day 2, 3, and 4 right here on YouTube or Twitch. Link will be in the description as always. But anyways, let's hop right into these predictions. Starting off with KC versus Wildcard. KC, once again, I still think are probably the major favorites. Wildcard are, they're looking solid. They did win 2 out of 3 OC regionals, and they did almost make a top 8 multiple times last season, but I do not think that Wildcard will be able to get a game in this first round. Next, we got Energy versus Jinji, and Jinji did win the last regional of NA to qualify for this major, but I really am not sure if it's going to be enough for them to come out and beat Jinji. Or Energy, should I say. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3-1 win to Energy. Next, we got Falcons Secret. To be honest, I just think Falcons are way too good. I don't think Secret really stand a chance. And next, we have probably the most interesting match of the first round, Vitality versus Twisted Minds. I really think both teams, could walk away with a win. But I'm going to go with an upset here. I think Twisted Minds are going to get it done in Game 5 to take down the defending world champions of Monkey Moon and Exotic, and move on to the 1-0 round. And then next we got Furia Chiefs. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be too interesting. Should be a quick 3-0. And then we got Dig versus Complexity. This should be a very interesting match, kind of a test for both teams. I do think I'm going to give it to Dig just based off the fact that Dig have looked better. They have beat good teams, and they're playing in Europe. Complexity really have not been able to beat anyone good outside of Ultimates like one time. So I really am not, high on Complexity going into this major. And then these last two are just going to be quick 3-0s. Ultimates, against Luminosity, I think should win. And then we have the reigning EU regional champions in Geeke playing against FUT, who is the SSA team. So I don't really think, this should be too close. Next, we'll go ahead and start out with the 1-0 round. We got KC versus Twisted Minds, and, Twisted Minds got a good upset starting round 1. Nupo, off to a good start, but I do not think he is going to be taking down the behemoth that is KC. I think KC at this moment are just way too good, but, maybe it's still possible. We saw from Geeke, and speaking of Geeke, they got Energy. They've taken down the Kings of EU. Potentially, they could take down the Kings of NA. I'll give it a close one, but I do think Energy will come out on top. This one, and Falcons Ultimates, I mean, we saw this like a billion times last season. Ultimates never were real, well, Jinji, I guess last season, were never really able to do much to Falcons, so I don't see this really going any other way. And in Furia Dig, I think the speed of Furia is just going to be way too much for Dig. I don't think Dig, it's kind of a similar situation with KC. The speed of KC was too much for them to overcome, and I think it's going to be the same with a team like Furia. We move down here. This should be a quick 3-0 for these two teams going against the SSA and APAC teams. I really don't think these teams are good enough to even remotely compete with teams this good. And then we had an NA matchup to send someone to the 0-2 round, and we did see this in the last regional, where Jinji did beat Complexity on their way to winning the regional, and I think we're going to see it again, as Complexity will go down to the 0-2 round, and then we'll have a slightly close one, Secret, take down Chiefs, but I'll give Chiefs a game. And then up here we got KC versus Furia. This is going to be a tough one, but I'll give it in game 5. I think KC are going to come out on top. And then Energy Falcons, we've seen these a few times. Last season, we saw Energy and Falcons play in Swiss, and Falcons absolutely smoked Energy. But then Energy were able to come back and win the, the London Major. So, really interesting to see if Energy can come out and get a 3-0 start. And I actually am not going to do that. I think Falcons are going to get the win here. A lot closer than their London matchup, but Yeah, I think Falcons will go 3-0 as well as KC. Let's go ahead and move down here. We got Twisted versus Secret. I think Twisted Minds, like I said, are just, I think they're a lot better than Secret. I think Twisted Minds have looked really good. You know, I think Rise, he's a you know, what's the word I'm looking for? He is a land riser, you know. I think Atomic's pretty good, but it's really Nupo. He's the star of the show here, and I think he'll be good enough that, you know, no one on Secret will be really able to overcome it. Next, we got Dignitas Vitality. Ooh, this is tough. One of them is going to get sound on the 1-2. I do think this is going to be a Dignitas win. We saw them play in Regional 2, and Dignitas did come out on top, and I really don't think I've seen anything from either team that really makes me think this match will go the other way at the moment, but yeah. And then next we got Ultimate Stringy, and I'm going to be some biased here. I think that Regional Final was a fluke, and I think that we will see Ultimates come out on top in this one. Next, we got GK Wildcard, and yeah, I think GK should not have a problem with this one. I think GK are going to be a really solid team going into this major, especially after how they performed in the last regional. And then we'll go down here. Chiefs, FUT, this should be a 3-0. Same for Complexity. Fortunate for Luminosity and FUT to not get a single game win, but hey, it's just kind of the nature of being from a lower region. I guess let's go ahead and move over here to these last two rounds. And of course, we have to have Ultimate's energy. Alright, my bias is shown. I don't care. Ultimates are going to take this in Game 5 and move on to the playoffs as a 2-1 team. And we got Furia Geeke. I think I'm going to go with an upset pick here. I do think that Furia will get taken down, and we'll see Geeke actually come out. You know, they'll bring back some of the flashes of their dominance against KC in the the Regional 3 Grand Finals, you know, and we'll see a good performance from them, and they will move on 3-1. And then we got Twisted versus Dignitas. I think Twisted is a better team. I do not think they will lose this match. Dignitas just, you know, I don't think they're the same level as Twisted Minds, so I think we will see Twisted Minds come out victorious in this one and move on as well, 3-1. And down here we got Secret versus Complexity. We have a Sam team in NA versus a other Sam team. I did rate Secret slightly higher, so I'm going to give it to Secret. Are you kidding me? Oh, this is tough. Look at that a second. And then Wildcard Chiefs. We've seen this a few times. I think this is a sweep for Wildcard. And then, of course, we have Gingy versus Vitality. We have a team that never misses round 5 versus a team that really should not be going out 1-3 in the major. And unfortunately, I think that will be the case. Gingy will go out 1-3. Yeah, 1-3. Unfortunate for them after, you know, so much hope of winning a regional grand final. To be honest, it's kind of unfortunate. They lost to Energy, Ultimates, and, you know, Vitality. That's not like they have a bad loss there, so it's just unfortunate, but is the way that things work. And, oh, what is this? What is this? Are you kidding me? Wow. Oh, man. Well, unfortunately for Vitality, 10 is going out 2-3 in the Swiss and not going to make top 8. That's so crazy. All because I started with this upset by Twisted Minds. That's so wild. Crazy. But yeah, so seems Energy will go in 3-2 while Vitality does not even make top 8. And then Furia Wildcard, I do think Furia will win this. I'll give Wildcard a game as they get just one game closer to making it to a top 8. But unfortunately, just once again, they're just going to be the gatekeepers. They're going to sit right on the line, but never actually be able to enter themselves. And then Dig, Secret, I don't think Dig should struggle too much with Secret, and they will move on to the top 8. So this is the Swiss results and the seeding as follows. That's crazy. But yeah, let's hop into the main event now. So we'll go ahead and start with the upper bracket. We have KC versus Ultimates. I think KC, I would love to win 21 games, but that will not be the case. I would love to see KC, you know, our Ultimates be able to come out and take a win over KC, but I just do not think that will be the case in this situation. And then we have Falcons Twisted Minds. This is a, a throwback to regional day, their regional matches, but I think that we will see Falcons come out victorious like they did so many times online. I do like Twisted Minds. I think they'll be a very good team, but I do not think that they will be able to overcome Falcons on land. But, and we got Geeky versus Dignitas. We saw this in Regional 3 where Geeky did sweep Dignitas on that Sunday where they never lost. And I think we will see them get a win here to move on to the top 6. I don't think that's too bad of a loss. Yeah, so EK will move on to the top 6 and, look to, their inner championship Sunday run as they start from the same position they did in Regional 3 and look to make a run to the grand finals. And next we got Energy versus Furia, where, I think Energy will come out victorious once again. I don't think that they will fall that short of a I don't think they'll go out top 8. I think Furia, at the end of the day, is just not going to be good enough to overcome Energy when they are playing well. And I think they'll play pretty well on this championship Sunday, on the ND playoffs. They always seem to heat up when it matters most, so pretty confident Energy will get it done here. Then we got Ultimates versus Geeky, and unfortunately the dream run for Geeky will end one game short of a top 4, as the Ultimates are going to get done, and Fourth Killer has made his triumphant return to the land stage as he will make another top 4 on land. And that's just how we get Twisted Minds versus Energy. I do not think Nupo will be able to single-handedly overcome a team as good as Energy. So I will give the win to Energy as we get a very interesting slate of top 4s. We have Falcons Ultimates. We've seen this one too many times, and Falcons have always come out as the winner. I just don't think Ultimates have the ability to overcome the just extreme speed and aggression of Falcons. I think Falcons are going to be just too good for Ultimates. So unfortunately, for my team, their run will end in the semifinals. But next we have the match that I think is probably the most anticipated match at this LAN, and that is KC versus Energy. And we saw this at Worlds, and I think this time we're going to see KC take them down on their way to winning the Major. Yes, guys, I think KC will be your Major champions. So not too crazy of a prediction. I feel like I think the only crazy one is having Vitality not even making top 8. That's kind of a wild one, but I mean, just kind of how it is with how their freaking run game, having to play Twisted Minds, Dig, and Energy. But yeah, I think this is a pretty interesting run we have here. So anyways, guys, like I said, I will be watch partying day 2, 3, and 4. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, turn on that bell, and I will see y'all for the Major. But anyways, take care.